morning, which was your opening, our opening locations. Okay. You had your trap zone there. So Iman, let's talk about it. What were you thinking about this morning? Because you're looking at Micron, you're looking at Mr. Tony's trade. Go ahead.
Yes. So a few months ago when I started in your room, since you always talk about Micron, I said, well, let me make that one of my 5. Right now, I'm only going to do 2. So I'm doing Micron and Roblox.
Oh, okay.
Because those are the ones that move enough that I see so many different patterns throughout the day. So I hope that I find 2 stocks that I can see multiple setups. Okay. So I started off with the trap zone. I drew out the high, the low. I marked where the 8 was. And that's for the last hour of the previous day.
Correct.
When I logged in at 9:30, I saw the first candle. And I'm going to pull it just so it's bigger for me on this other screen. Okay. So at 9:30,
that first candle was red, right?
The first candle was red, right? I'm like, okay, well, let me just wait on it, be patient, watch the play. So since I saw the first candle was so much higher than the trap zone, I said, well, let's just watch to see what it does. And I'm also looking at how skinny or how tight the 8, the 20, and the 200 was at closing last night and essentially the beginning of the day.
Can we scroll back out a little bit on that, Patrick, so we can see that? Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it was really close together. I'm like, it's supposed to start very tight, and if it starts widening out, and that's exactly what it looked like it was doing at 9:30.
Okay.
So then I said, I watched to see what the second candle does. The second candle was a very large candle, and it overtook the first one.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second.
Okay,
that particular what location? If we were to give them a 1, a 2, and a 3, like how I set it up there in the course, where would you say that location is at? Would that? I would
say the top of like 2.
Okay, there you go. All right.
Okay,
and there we have a couple of options for it to either move down 1. I think I have a minus and 2 pluses there, right?
Yes.
So we have, the odds are more likely in our favor of it moving up as opposed to it going down. Okay, go ahead.
Yep. So then the second large candle the red candle came. And I said, okay, it was very tiny. It only took up, I don't know percentages just yet, but it only took up a little bit of the green, and it still traded like it was still a higher low. I said, okay, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like people are battling. I see the wicks. I'm like, the wick at the top is much greater on the red candle. So the buyers are trying to push this up. Then I saw that big green candle. I let the green candle mature. And then I saw the 2 red ones. And I'm like, I don't know if I should get in. So then I said, I'm not going to play with this. I'll just watch it. I watched it go all the way up. And I said, I probably should have took the trade because the 8 and the 20 were still wide. It still was going up. I think that I probably would have been stopped out at 9:48 with that large red candle that crossed the 8.
Okay.
That second one would have came and it wouldn't have gotten past the 8. And then I'm like, I don't know what I would have done because at that point I had given up. Like, I'm just going to watch the trade today.
Okay. So let's go back to that very first green candle. Okay. The first green candle. So what do we talk about in terms of retracement? Either 55 or 100% retracement of a candle of the red candle, in this case, be a red candle because it's moving upward. So wouldn't we have taken the trade? Can you guys see my mouse at all? Do you see my mouse?
No.
You don't? Okay. All right. No problem.
Right
Can
here.
I do share screen? Will that help if I hit share screen, Pat?
Do you have the Facebook up on your end right now?
I do.
We don't even have to use Facebook.
Okay.
You could just use, if you want to chart it and then throw it up, you'll be able to use your EpiPens and everything else.
I'm going to do that in just a second, but I want to go through yours. I really, because I'm impressed. No, you did the work, and that's why I want everybody to see the work.
Okay.
So really, we talk about a retracement. That's a very strong green candle right there. So what we typically would have done in a case like this is we would have gotten in as soon as it retraced that red candle there. Reason being, look at the 8, look at the direction of the 20, the direction that they are moving. It's a very steep incline, okay? And it's only going to last for so long. We know that because, you know, it can't continue in that direction, right? It's unsustainable, right?
Right.
So we probably would have taken the trade right there and we would have put our stop in either right underneath 1 penny, underneath that mean, the mean being the candle, our reason, the reason being that we came in on that trade, okay?
Got it.
But that's only if you can look down and you can look over to the right where it gives you all your prices at and determine. That's why I want to give you guys a slide. We'll have it next week. If I take on 100 shares or whatever it is, and I'm talking in terms of shares right now, what can I afford to lose? How do I determine my risk immediately? Okay, if I buy 100 shares, if I lose 20 cents, that's because that's about a 20-cent gain, a loss. If it goes down below the end of that candle, I'm out about 50, 60 bucks right there. I'm willing to take that, take the trade. Okay. All right. So I take that trade because I know what my risk parameter is. Okay. And if I lose, all right, I'm out the money. But if not, it's moving in the right direction. It's a pretty strong candle. Typically, we talk about, remember, we go back all the way back to chapter 1 in candlesticks, 80% of the time, big candles make more big candles. Now, in this case, it didn't make another big candle. It made a red candle. But look at the type of candle. It was basically a neutral red candle, okay?
Right.
It wasn't significant at all, meaning that we talk about how the stocks can run, then they'll take a breather, and then they'll run again like a track runner, you know, they'll run, come over the side, grab a glass of water, and he's back on the track and he's running again. Okay, that's fine. We can do that, okay? Now, you could have traded into this thing and because the candles are so large, you really got your 3 candle move already there, you know.
Right.
You can look at the size of these things. So you're like, those are significant moves. So if you wanted to be out on the scalp, you could have been out on the scalp. Or you'd have kept moving your stop up, okay, underneath the next green candle, that third one there with the topping tail, you had your stop in under there. And if you get stopped out there, that's fine. That's cool. That's cool. Not a problem. So I want you to go ahead because I see you got a circle right there underneath there. I'm thinking there's a question there in this circle right here. What's going on?
Mr. Tony, before sorry to interrupt, before you just to come backwards 2 step back, so that way I can point out where you would have entered on this trade right here. So you were looking at the red candle retracement.
When this green candle encompass the red candle there,
okay.
When you got the retracement right there, right where you're go up a little higher, right there at the top of that one,
right here.
That's where you're coming in on that, and you're putting your stop. You can either put it at 55%, okay, because that's a big candle, or you can put it 1 penny below that reason, which is that candle. So where your mouse is, I'd bring it down all the way down to the bottom of that candle. It might be a lot, you know, it might be a bit too much because that's a pretty substantial candle. So where that line is drawn right there, and I think you drew that line.
Yeah.
You drew that line. That's about a 50, well, that's a little bit more than 55% if it were to go south. But I don't know what the dollar amount is on that. As a matter of fact, let me do this.
Yeah, I didn't when I screenshot it, I didn't drag it all the way over to the axis with the prices.
No problem. I'm gonna look it up over here.
And Mr. Tony, if we put our stop, you know, if we were looking at this right here where we got in, this red would have taken us out.
Yes.
And then we just wait for the process and hop back on again.
Correct. Because we're going to give it one more chance, right? Remember number 7? We're going to give it one more chance. Okay, biggie, yeah. Give me one more chance. And here's the thing. This particular trade here, it looks like it came down, it traded against the 8, but the red candle couldn't produce another green candle. You got another really big candle. The specialists were really manipulating this particular stock this morning because they were swinging it back and forth. But every time you notice when it had a big swing, it couldn't produce another color other than when it produced it in the upward trend.
Right.
The red candle couldn't produce another, it produced a green candle. The green candle couldn't produce another green candle, a red candle was produced. And when this red candle was produced, it couldn't produce another big one. It came back with the green again. So each time, you know, it was a real conflict. So really, if you think about it, probably a trade that I would have stayed out of, you know, because the swings were just too dramatic at the time. But if you were going to do it based upon what our rules are in our exercise here, you would have just taken the trades and just, you know, taken whatever it gave you. And that's what I want you guys to get used to, because that next green candle that appeared go over a little bit, Pat. No, over to the over.
Oh, this
over,
one.
Over.
Oh,
nope.
that's one.
Next one. Nope. Next to the right.
Next green
right.
one.
Next green one. Next green one. That one. Come down. Yeah. That particular candle right there.
Yeah.
That particular candle right there almost came back and took out all of that red. So you know how we draw our lines like you did over here. And we draw them, okay? And then we draw the halfway point, 33%, 66%. And we want to see whether or not it's going to stay in those quadrants, right? Because this particular trade right here, the two green candles here, Patrick, that one and one to the left, the big one to the left, if you blend those together, okay, there's your strength on the upside, and the red ones, there's your weakness on the downside. If you drew a line through there right at the 50% point, you'll see that when that green candle started to move up, it went right through that quadrant and made that new high. One thing I want you guys to be aware of too, and we'll talk about this as we go along. When these stocks make new highs, because these markets are going to be choppier, don't look for a whole lot more. Sometimes they're going to make that new high, and then that's all there's going to be. That's it, you know. Now we moved on and we topped out up here at the top. So Iman, you saw the strength of those red candles, those consecutive red candles moving down, and
yes,
you drew
sir.
a line. Go ahead.
So yeah, I did this in paint, so it's not a straight line. It's like the squiggly butt. Again, I was not in the trade because I said I'm not gonna play with this today because I really wasn't understanding it.
Okay.
But then I drew the line to try to break it into those quadrants. And what I can't tell because I've drawn over it is that red bottoming tail and what the bottom of that green one is at the bottom because I drew over it. Now I see that. But again, I was just in the motion at that moment. So I wanted to consider that the reversal, but because I'm inexperienced, I assumed that it would be a greater bounce up because of the strength of so many of the red candles. So that was my other question for you today.
You got it right.
Okay.
No, you got it right. Those red candles, there's not even a green candle ignored in any of those red candles. That is a very strong move. So when you see that move, would you also categorize that as a dramatic decline?
I would.
Okay. And you know that we can get either that 25, it'll come up 25%, which happens about 90% of the time, or to come up, 50%, which will happen about 60% of the time, or 75 at that 75 level, which is that top line you got there. And that'll happen about 30% of the time. Okay. And then all the way back up to the top, which will happen about 10% of the time.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. My middle line, that 50%, where you see the 20 MA, at that time, it seemed to be trending down, which it ended up doing. But while we're in the moment, we're not 100%. We're not 100% sure. But it looks like it's going down. That last green candle, would you have gotten out at that moment, or would you have just written it?
This one?
Not that one. No. Go over
Go
to
up.
your right.
Go up.
Over to your right
Right.
again.
Your other
Your
right.
other right. Your other right.
Oh, right.
So it's a big green, the biggest green candle you see,
Oh,
like,
right
you can see
there.
the white line going through it horizontally.
right
Yeah,
there.
that
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
So at that point, the 20 is going down. And I know I'm supposed to, take
Trade
that
with
as
the
my
20.
direction.
Yeah.
Would you have allowed that next candle to even mature, or would you been out of the trade?
I probably would have been scaling out of the trade at that time because your odds keep going down. Remember that
Yeah.
first line, that's about a 90%er. That second line, you're about a 60%er, which is darn good odds still. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you want to just take your quick hit and go, I'll take that 60% odds in my favor anytime. If we're flipping a coin, I'm going to win 60% of the time. I'm good with that. I'll take it.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
probably scaling out somewhere around that time as well too. Think about how dramatic that 20 moved up and then it made a sideways move. That means it just kind of ran out of gas. I
Okay.
mean, that was he did his thing. He shot up like a rocket, but at some point the rocket ran out of fuel.
Got
He
it.
started
Okay.
to turn sideways. You
Okay.
know? So you drew it, and I'm going to draw it over here on mine too, but I just want you to keep going with this thing. And just so once it starts to turn over, because you're watching this trade, obviously, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what are your thoughts at this point?
So, and actually at 10, let me see what 10:30, what time was that? 10:30. Yeah. So now that happened at 10:42. It goes up, and then I see the almost same size, different color candles. They both have little tops. They're not like tweezers. They're not long, but I
Right.
do feel like it's going to change. When it starts going down, I said I probably should look into short. If I was trading both ways, I could short how
Mhm.
many ever shares that I
I
wanted
want
to.
you to. Yeah.
That big, the doji at well, not the
I see
doji,
it.
but
I see the doji.
you got
it's a
it.
neutral green candle. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, kind of
right there.
neutral, like, oh, they're fighting what they want to do. I probably would have got in when I saw that red one start. I wouldn't have let that mature. I'd have been like, let me just jump in and ride it all the way down to that last point before we got the big green candle at the bottom. Again, almost same size, because I'm starting to learn that those same size with the top, the little top wicks
Little wick.
seem like the reversals.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously that would have been a good trade. I probably would have waited for that second red candle, the second big red candle that appeared after that doji, that one there. I would have waited for that one to clear the green candle, the second green candle, not that first little doji, but the second green candle. I would have waited for it to clear.
To your right.
Yeah.
To your right, Pat.
Right there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That red one.
Once
Okay.
once it cleared, I would have been short. I would have been
Got
short
it.
there if I'm taking the trade there. And
Okay.
it's a good trade. Now remember, this all happened also too, it looks like in the first hour of trading.
Correct.
That's when it is most volatile. And we don't necessarily, and I give you guys a lot of leeway in the first hour of trading when it comes to the 20. Okay.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things going on, a lot of manipulation going on. There's a lot of trades from the previous, evening or pre-market that's going on too. And all that stuff has to filter through the system. So there's
Okay.
a lot of stuff going on before we start to settle out. And then we go, okay, now we're flowing with the movement of the market and whatever, and all the nonsense has kind of come to an end,
Okay.
So in the beginning of that trade, that was a real tough trade. Hey, Pat, I want to open up Micron and bring it over. Can I do that on my
Yeah,
end now?
you can get that on your end, and you'll be able to just hit the share. Sorry, go ahead.
Should I
I
hit
just
the
want
shit?
to, Mr. Tony, before y'all move,
Yeah.
can I ask one quick question? Because I
Sure.
stepped out and came back in. I'm mommy duty over here, y'all.
I heard
Mommy
that.
duty.
Go ahead.
Patrick, zoom out where I can see her trading that zone. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Tony, where's the
Yes.
1, 2, and 3? Because to me, from my eyes,
Uh-huh.
and I wouldn't have traded I would have waited, because to me, 1, 2, and 3 really is where that red doji candle is to me.
That right here.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have been a 3 zone for me. So I would have just paused and waited. I may have been upset that I missed that money going up, but I would have paused and waited, because if you think about it, if I'd have bought a put, I would have made money off the put towards, I mean, it would have took a little longer, but I still would have made money off of a put because I paused and waited for it to, do whatever it was going to do. Again, the first part of the
First
market is
hour,
silly.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I would say in terms of position, it just kind of determines upon where how you're drawing your candles out. But I mean, there's an argument to be made. Yeah, that could be the 3, or, as Iman says, she figured it was the top of the 2 position. So, I mean, there's an argument to be made both sides there, and if you look at the direction of the 8 and the 20, I mean, they were so steep, and you had a really nice upward trending 200 as well. You could see that it was going to do it, but unfortunately, because it was so steep, you knew that it was unsustainable.
Yep. Okay. I know I heard y'all say 1, 2, and 3 when I was walking out the room, and I was like, okay, maybe I missed it. So I just wanted to ask. So thank you.
Oh, no problem. No problem at all. Okay, real quick, 'cause I know we're coming up on our time. Okay, so
Yeah,
how do I
let me
do
know
that?
if you've got, do you already have it up on your end?
Should I hit share screen?
Yes, sir. And then you
Okay.
get the options on there, and then I'll close out on this one here.
Okay.
And
Okay. So I hit host is disabled, share screen.
then get your options for you to pick which of the shared screen to work on or work with.
It's not giving it to me. It just says host has disabled participant screen sharing.
You should be able to have that. Oh, actually, you know what? That would be my fault. Ha,
Oh, bro.
look at it. The tech guy messed up.
All right. You good?
All right, try it out right now.
Yeah, there we
I
go.
was still on my end.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go share. Okay, cool. Let's do this really quick. Let's go to
So you have your entire screen shared right now. Just
yeah, we're good. We're good. I moved everything over.
okay.
Bang. Okay. And there's Micron from this morning. Let me get my Epic pen. I'm basically gonna do what Iman did. So what I like to do too is, I know you drew your line kind of like this. I don't really like to draw that line like that.
I can't see your screen right now, Mr.
Oh, you
Tony.
can't see it?
Yeah, we've got everything else.
We have the
actually.
tiny
Yeah,
charts.
you're sharing the other screen that I think you thought you moved away.
Okay, let me do this then. So you guys can see this screen.
So do a stop screen share for a second.
Okay, stop share.
All right, now go through again and hit the screen share.
Okay.
And then it should give you like options of what desktop or what screen exactly you're looking at.
Can you guys see this?
There we go. This is different. Yes.
Can you see that?
I see that. Yes, that's better.
You got me?
Perfect.
All right.
You got you.
Yes.
Cool. Sorry about that. I told you guys, hey, please bear with me. We're gonna do this thing. We're all gonna learn something here this first quarter. Okay, so I'm gonna bring up. So I know you draw your lines like that. I probably wouldn't.
Okay.
I would probably draw them, and this is the way I draw mine. I mean, you don't have to, you can do whatever you like, obviously, but I come down here and I find the strength this way, and I say, okay, it's about right there. And then I go,
Oh, I see.
50% is about right there. 33% is probably going to be about right there. And 66% is going to be probably about right there. And isn't that amazing that it never made it back up into that top quadrant up there, which means it's probably going to fail at some point. Now, where is it going to fail at? So I probably, I was saying before, I probably would have came over. Here's your gift. If you think about it, this red candle right here, this red candle right here was your gift.
Right.
Okay. You draw a line through there. And look at that.
Mhm.
There's your sell-off. You know, that's
Feeling your
probably,
bottom.
and that was a nice little sell-off there. You get down here, you darn near, it's pretty much a 180.
Right.
Yeah, which means that downward trend is over. You know, and it's probably not going to trade that low again today, right? Isn't that what I always say? When you
Yes,
say
sir.
180, it's probably not going to trade that high again today, or it's not going to trade that low again today. And it didn't. It didn't. Well, we got a little bit. Well, we got.
No, I was just gonna ask, what about
gotta
that
peek at the
one
red
little
thing.
week? Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got a peekaboo. Yeah, you got a peekaboo.
Okay.
You got a peekaboo, but from there, it just, it just peekabooed down in there and took back off.
And that was
Well,
for
yeah.
the bag holders.
Huh?
I said that peekaboo was for the bag holders.
Okay. Okay. All right. But listen, here's the thing. I'm really excited. When I saw that today, when you sent that over on Facebook, and I looked at that with Patrick, I was like, wow. I said, they were listening. They were
Okay.
really.
Listen, I'm proud. Thank you, because I was not sure. I was like, let me just throw this up here.
And you drew it out perfect.
That was good.
Okay.
You drew it
Okay,
out
good.
perfect. And that's kind of the thing, you know, and Pat was trying to explain to me how this Facebook thing works and how to be able to communicate, because sometimes I know you guys want to ask questions during the week or whatever, but maybe, you know, maybe it's Thursday, maybe it's Friday, and we ain't gonna talk again until Tuesday again, you know, so you might not have a chance to, you know, bring it up. But I think this Facebook thing's gonna be nice. I'll go in there. I'll try to make sure I go in there. Like the weeks we're not doing this live, I'll definitely be in the Facebook. And in terms of our exercise, let's talk about it as we're going along. Bring it up in the Facebook group and put your trades up in there, and let's talk about it and say, hey, look, you know what? Every time it got down to the 200, it bounced off the 200, and I took the turnaround off the 200 every single time. That was one of the three, you know, setups that, you know, I'm trading for this exercise, Tony, you know, or about it as we're going along. Bring it up in the Facebook group and put your trades up in there, and let's talk about it and say, hey, look, you know what? Every time it got down to the 200, it bounced off the 200, and I took the turnaround off the 200 every single time. That was one of the three, you know, setups that, you know, I'm trading for this exercise, Tony, you know, or I'm working on my openings. And yeah, so for example, let's see, let me open this up a little bit bigger. You could have said, okay, that this was going to be 1, this was going to be 2, oops, I'm sorry. That was going to be 2, and then that was going to be 3. Tanisha could have been looking at it from that standpoint, you know. So, I mean, that's entirely, I guess, I don't know how this whole thing works. Anyway, that's entirely possible too. Maybe she was looking at it from that standpoint. Maybe you were looking at it from the standpoint of maybe, you know, that was 1, that was 2, you know. Still, even still there, I guess we're still in 3 actually. So I don't know. I mean, it's entirely how you look at it. Now, here's the other thing, Iman. This was super wide. I know it was narrow here in the beginning. It was narrow here in the beginning, you know, right down to here. But that was super wide from here to here, from that 20 up to there. That's pretty wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wide.
Okay, well, thank you. You're making me feel better that I did not play around with this trade
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, it would have been a tough trade to take that early on too. Here's another thing too, you guys want to keep in mind too. I don't know why I'm getting this feedback in here, man. I really don't.
Oh, you have your speaker facing your mic probably.
And I'm trying to, I got this.
So you're hearing the feed, because I just heard the feedback right now on my end.
Okay. Hopefully that's a little better.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Gosh, what was I saying? I don't remember. what I said.
Iman was talking about feeling good about not taking the trade.
Oh, yeah. Well, in that first hour of trading, like I said, there's so much volatility going on. Can I show you guys a real quick trade that my brother caught the other day, and then we'll wrap this thing up here. I promise you guys. Let me close this out really quick. He took, and he was so proud of himself, and he bugged me all, well, messed up my
Was that
trade.
Exxon?
Exxon, yeah. Did you guys take a look at that?
Exxon was great.
Yeah, when you mentioned it in the room, I just pulled the chart up. I'm like, wow, that was a good trade for him.
Yeah. So you're talking about a picture of strength. This is really,
Mhm.
this is the one you're looking for right here. Okay. Trap zone.
And he caught that early in the morning.
Man, he's been on these oils forever, right? And he finally caught it very narrow, very tight, right? Had a flat 200 in the beginning, upward 20, upward 8. Okay. And then would you guys be in agreement that that's where 1 is? That's where 2 is. And that's where 3 is.
Mhm.
Okay. A little bit better trade.